Hello everyone and welcome back to I Am Technos. In today's video, we are going to solve a very common problem that many people face when preparing data for machine learning. Let's imagine a situation. You are working in a company and your manager tells you we have customer data stored in different places, some data in CSV files, some in S3 and some in databases. Clean the data, handle missing values, transform it and prepare it for machine learning. Sounds simple, right? But when you actually open the dataset, you start noticing problems like some columns have missing values, some fields have text instead of numbers, there are extra columns, and sometimes a duplicate records. Before you even start building a machine learning model, you're already stuck cleaning the data. And this is not unusual. In real world machine learning projects, about 70 to 80% of the time is spent on data preparation, not model building. So the question is there any AWS service that helps prepare and transform data visually without heavy coding? The answer is yes. That service is called Amazon SageMaker Data Wrangler. Without Data Wrangler, the process usually looks like this. You write Python scripts, manually clean the data, test your transformations multiple times, and repeat the process again and again. This can take a lot of time and effort, but with SageMaker Data Wrangler, things become more easier. You get a visual interface with more than 300 built-in transformations. This means no heavy coding, faster data preparation, easy integration with SageMaker training workflows. In simple terms, it removes the fear and complexity of data pre-processing, especially for beginners. So Amazon SageMaker Data Wrangler is a visual data preparation tool inside Amazon SageMaker. It helps you to import data, export and analyze data, clean data sets, apply transformations, and prepare data for machine learning. And the best part is that you can do all this without writing complex code. So think of it like a data washing machine for machine learning. You give it a raw data and it cleans, transforms, and prepares the data for model training. So remember this key point. SageMaker Data Wrangler simplifies and accelerates the data preparation cycle for machine learning. Now let's understand how it works at a high level. First, you connect to a data source. Your data can come from multiple places such as Amazon S3, Amazon Redshift, Amazon Athena, databases, or even your local machine. Once the data source is connected, you import the dataset to Data Wrangler. Next, you can analyze and visualize the data to understand patterns and insights. After that, you can apply different transformations such as handling missing values, cleaning incorrect data, converting data types, and removing duplicates. Finally, once all the transformations are completed, you can export the processed dataset to Amazon S3 and use it for machine learning training jobs in SageMaker. And that's how Amazon SageMaker Data Wrangler helps simplify the entire data preparation process. Before we start with the hands-on demo, let's quickly understand the data set we will be working with. In this example, we are using a simple customer purchase data set. The goal of this data set is to help us predict whether a customer will purchase a product or not. So essentially, this is a binary classification problem where the output will be either yes or no. Now let's look at the columns in the data set. First, we have the customer ID. This is just a unique identifier for each customer. It helps us distinguish between records, but it usually doesn't contribute to machine learning predictions. Next, we have age. This represents the age of the customer. Then we have salary. This indicates the customer income level. Next is country. This tells us which country the customer belongs to. And finally, we have purchased. So this is the target column which tells us whether the customer purchased the product or not. Now the idea is that based on attribute like age, salary and country, we want to predict whether the customer will make a purchase. Now if we look closely at this data set, we can already notice a few issues. For example, one of the records have a missing salary value, another record has a missing country value, and another record has a missing age value. And this is actually very common in real world data sets. So before building any machine learning model, we must clean and prepare this data. And that's exactly where Amazon SageMaker Data Wrangler becomes useful. Now let's move to the AWS console and see how we can use SageMaker Data Wrangler to import this dataset, explore it, and apply transformation step by step. Make sure you save the dataset with the name customerdata.csv and keep it on your desktop. I'm in the AWS Management Console, working in California region, which is US West 1. You can choose any region you prefer, but make sure you stay in the same region throughout the demo. First, we need to upload our dataset to Amazon S3 because SageMaker Data Wrangler will access the data from there. So in the search bar, type S3 and select it from the results. Once you are on the S3 dashboard, click Create Bucket. Now give a unique name to the bucket. For example, I would say Data Wrangler Demo Bucket. Since the bucket names must be global unique, I'll add few numbers. Scroll down and click Create Bucket. Now open the bucket we just created. To upload the dataset, simply drag and drop the customer data file into the bucket. Scroll down and click Upload. Once the upload is complete, the dataset will now be available inside the S3 bucket. Now that the dataset is stored in S3, we can move on creating our SageMaker environment. On a new tab, and in the search bar, type SageMaker AI, then select it from the results. On the left hand navigation, under Environment Configuration, click on Domains. Now click Create Domain. Since we are doing this for a demo, choose Setup for Single User and then click Setup. When you click Setup, AWS automatically configures several components for you. This process may take a few minutes to complete while AWS provisions the environment. While this setup is running, you may see an option to take a quick tour of SageMaker Studio. You can explore it if you like or simply wait for the setup to finish. As you can see, the domain has now been created successfully. In the left navigation, click on Domains. In simple terms, a SageMaker domain acts like an environment where we can access and manage SageMaker resources, including tools like SageMaker Studio and Data Wrangler. Before that, we need to make sure our SageMaker execution role has permissions to access S3. So select the SageMaker domain. Under Domain Settings, copy the execution role, open a new tab and go to IAM dashboard. Click on Roles in the left navigation and search for that role. Select the role. Under Permissions, click Add Permissions and Attach Policies. Search for the policy S3 Full Access. Select it and click Add Permissions. Now that the SageMaker role has permissions to access our S3 bucket. So go back to the domain, select the domain and click Open Studio. Here you will see your user profile. In most cases it will be selected automatically. If it is not selected, just choose your user profile and click on Open Studio. This will take you to Amazon SageMaker Studio. I'm just skipping the tour for now. Now we are inside the Amazon SageMaker Studio, which is the main development environment for machine learning on AWS. On the left navigation panel, make sure you're on the home page, then scroll down and under Prepared Data, click on the link which is Transform, Analyze and Export Data. This option will direct you to the SageMaker Data Wrangler. Yeah, as you can see here. Now click Run in Canvas. So at the moment the environment is stopped. So when we click Run in Canvas, SageMaker will start the required resources. So behind the scenes, AWS will launch a compute instance and create a workspace for us where we can prepare and transform data. Now the interface is ready. As you can see, click Open in Canvas. Once the canvas opens, you will see the Data Wrangler workflow. The process generally follows this step: import data, prepare and transform the data, analyze and scale the data, and build machine learning models. So now let's start by importing our data set. So click Import and Prepare. Since our data set is a CSV file, choose Tabular Dataset. Here you can see that Data Wrangler supports multiple data sources such as S3, Athena, Redshift and others. For this demo, we will import our dataset from S3. So select S3. Now go back to your S3 bucket, open the bucket and select the dataset object. Copy the S3 URI, return to the data Wrangler and paste the URI in the S3 location field and load the dataset. You should now see the file customerdata.csv. So select it and click next. Now the dataset will be loaded and you can see all the columns with the missing values as well. On the right side, you will see the sampling settings. So sampling is typically used for very large datasets. Since our dataset is small, we can reduce the sample size to 1000. Now click import. As you can see, the customerdata.csv has been successfully imported. Now let's analyze the dataset. So click on the plus button, then choose Get Insights. Data Wrangler allows you to run several types of analysis such as histograms, table summaries, bias reports, data quality reports. For this demo, let's generate a data quality and insights report. It's always a good practice to analyze the data before applying transformations instead of blindly cleaning it. Now we need to choose a target column. So which is the column we want to predict? In our dataset, the target column is purchased, which indicates whether a customer will purchase or not. So since this is a yes or no prediction, the problem type is classification. Select purchased as the target column and choose classification as the problem type. You can keep the analysis dataset size as a sample dataset. Then click create. The analysis will run and generate a report. Once it is finished, you will see a detailed data quality report. Let's briefly look at the summary. One part of the report shows the number of features in the dataset, the total number of rows, percentage of the missing values, valid data percentage, and feature types such as a numeric, text, or categorical. So this report helps to understand the overall quality of the dataset before training a machine learning model. I'm not going through each and every aspect of the report to avoid overloading you. Now let's apply some data transformations. So go back to the flow. In our dataset, there are some missing values in some columns. To fix this, click Add Transform. Click Add Transform again. Choose Handle Missing and select it. Keep the column type as numeric and input columns as age and salary and select Add. So we have added age and salary. Next, we also have missing value in the country, which is categorical field. So click Add Transform again, choose Handle Missing, and this time column type as categorical and select the country under input columns. And then click Add. Now the transformations are applied. Now let's export the processed data set. So click Add and then export and export data to S3. So click on Browse and choose the bucket we created earlier and then click Apply. You can rename the dataset to something like processed customer data, yeah, and then click Export. So the export process will start. In fact, it started. Once it is completed, you will see the S3 location of the exported file. Okay, so you can simply copy the S3 location or go back to your S3 bucket. You should be seeing a new folder. So click on the folder, download and open the CSV file. You will notice the missing values have now been handled by the Data Wrangler. So this demonstrates how Data Wrangler helps automate data preparation. So for a small dataset like this, you could fix the values manually. But imagine working with thousands or millions of records. It would not be practical to clean the data manually. So tools like Amazon SageMaker Data Wrangler help us speed up this process while maintaining accuracy. Now let's briefly look at the complete data flow again. So we started by importing the dataset, then we generated the data insights to understand data quality. Based on those insights, we applied transformations to handle the missing values. Finally, we exported the cleaned dataset back to S3. Data Wrangler also allows you to train and test the machine learning models directly from this interface. However, I have already created a separate video explaining how to create models, deploy endpoints, and test predictions. So you can find that link in the description below. Now let's do a cleanup to avoid unnecessary cost. So go back to the Data Wrangler data flow. On the right hand side, you will see 3 dots menu. So click on it, select delete and confirm the deletion. Now close the canvas and return to the SageMaker Studio. Make sure you stop canvas, otherwise the compute instance will continue running and incur charges. So stopping the canvas is very important to avoid unnecessary cost. You cannot delete the domains and it will not incur any cost, so you can just keep as it is. Now go to S3. So open the bucket we created earlier, select all the objects and click delete. Give the necessary prompt and confirm the deletion. Now copy the S3 bucket name, go to buckets, select the bucket and delete the bucket as well. You may also see some additional buckets created by SageMaker. If needed, you can remove them as well. If the buckets are not empty, empty the bucket and then delete it. Okay, so I'm deleting all the buckets. Optionally, you can also delete the IAM role we created earlier to completely clean up the resources. That's it for this demo. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and happy learning.